Hi, my name is Nick Shell and I am a former vegan. I was a vegan for 5.5 years up until about 6 months ago, and I'd been a vegetarian for 7 years. And so much of the reason why I had such a drastic diet like that was because I had Dyshidrotic Eczema. And if you're watching this video, then that probably means you don't need me to describe what it is. That's why you found this video to begin with. But for people who are just curiously watching, Dyshidrotic eczema affects something like 1 out of 20,000 people in the world. It's rare and it's incurable as far as medical standards go. So I was desperate enough to really figure out how to cure it naturally so where I didn't have the symptoms anymore. And becoming a vegan took care of the problem. I was a vegan for those years, but then I thought, specifically though, in regards to being vegan, what is the most effective part of being vegan that's making me be completely cured of the dyshidrotic eczema that was taking over my hands and my life? I mean, I had it all over the palms of my hands. My hands were dried, yet they were swollen. They were cramped. I could barely use a computer keyboard. I was in constant pain and discomfort for all of this, you know, for years. And now I'm fine. And that's not a coincidence. And while I am grateful that God has provided me with this information, this wisdom, I had to figure this out myself using the internet and using context clues. So I have videos on the internet, I have blog posts that say, well, how do you cure yourself of dyshidrotic eczema? You become a vegan, that's the answer. Well, this is the 2019 update. Now that I'm not vegan anymore and I still don't have dyshidrotic eczema, let's assume that you're new to this and you're like, oh, there's a guy on the internet that has been cured of dyshidrotic eczema and he can do it in 3 steps. Well, what does he have to say? Well, I'm that guy and here we go. So number 1 step, go to the dentist and have them remove any metal fillings that you have. When I was a kid, I got several cavities because I'm sure I ate too much sugar cereal and other things. And I had metal fillings. I mean, because I'm almost 38, you know. I mean, so therefore, that was back in the days where they were still the norm. Now, I don't think those are the standard anymore. But I had those metal fillings. My body couldn't handle those anymore. But I mean, I guess for years, I survived okay. But as I got older, for whatever happened, my body took its tolerance of the metals in my teeth, in my mouth, in my body. And it was toxic to my body. The metals were toxic to my skin. So I got those metal fillings all removed and replaced. Yeah, so you don't see any of that dark silver color. They're all removed. That's step 1. Step 2, metal detox. I'm gonna make it convenient for you. I'm gonna put a link to Amazon in here. It's not too expensive. I think I don't know, usually around $25 for a bottle of this. Last year, maybe a month or so. But what I did is I put that in water or juice, and I faithfully followed the directions, a few drops a couple times a day. What that metal detox did was to help cleanse the metal detox, or the metal toxins, out of my body and out of my blood. And I did that for months. I also even went to a sauna for a couple of months too, just to be sure. But specifically, the metal detox that you can pretty easily buy off the internet, I definitely recommend getting on that immediately. It's absolutely worth the little amount of money that you'll spend on that instead of trying to spend money in any other way to try to save it. Not only do I highly recommend it, I don't recommend that you spend money on anything else. Out of these 3 steps, that's the one thing that I recommend you spend money on, and it's not even that much. Number 3, after you've got your metal fillings taken out, and after you've started taking your metal detox drops to naturally cleanse your blood from the metals that your body can't handle, last thing is you got to change your diet. Now, again, before I would have told you to be a vegan, but here's what I suggest now based on what's 100% effective and working on me. Number 1, become kosher. There's a good chance, I would guess, that you have Jewish heritage. I do. And I think for those of us who do have that or Middle Eastern background, which I also have separately from Jewish on my mom's side, when you look at Jewish people and people who are Muslim of Middle Eastern descent, their religious law says they couldn't eat pork or shellfish. So I believe that people who have a certain type of DNA can't handle certain things that most people else could eat. So that means to become kosher or halal is to cut out pork, no more pig, no more bacon, no more ribs, no more pork, and no more shellfish. That means no more shrimp, no more scallops, no more clams, that sort of thing. You cut all of that out. That's bottom feeder food. You don't want to continue eating the bottom, all that toxic stuff that where you've already rid yourself from the metals in your teeth and in your blood, where you don't want to keep consuming the dirtiest animals that exist. That's why there was laws against eating those animals for people who are Jewish and for people who are Muslim. So, and I've remained that way for over 10 years. I have no plans of ever not being kosher again. I've been kosher for actually 10.5 years at this point. Become kosher. This is still number 3. Become kosher. Processed sugar, no more. No. Definitely you can't drink soda. I mentioned drinking juice, but really even then it was just a few ounces for the drops, just to help the drops from the taste go down. But not drinking juice, not drinking sodas, not having things that have a lot of processed added sugar in them. Instead, focusing more on whole fruit. Maybe put fruit in a blender and have smoothies. I've been doing that, for many years now. That's the way I kind of get my sugar fix, but it's from an actual fruit where it's got fiber in it to help it process instead of just, but the sugar definitely would make my hands worse too. So for me, it was about the toxic food that has more of the metals into it, more the bottom feeder foods, and the sugar. Even so, kosher, but also I can't have tuna, I've learned. Even though it's kosher, it has, tuna are older, bigger fish that have been around in the ocean longer. They have more, they're like more sponges for that toxic metals. So tuna, I also, certain things you wouldn't even think that aren't kosher, but like tilapia, I can't even have tilapia. It's too dirty of a fish. With salmon, it can only be fresh water. It can't be from a farm. So it's a matter of just specifically eating cleaner foods. So yeah, that sums it up. I just want to make sure, because I'm planning to do a blog post on this. Well, that will be, I'll put a link in there for. So there you go. I think if you do those 3 things, there's a good chance you won't have eczema anymore. But you will have to do those 3 things and commit to those 3 things. Go to the doctor, get your metal fillings out. Start doing the metal detox until you're cured. It may take months of doing this before you see progress. And believe me, I took the metal detox drops for months. And then lastly, change your diet. You want to become kosher or halal if you're Muslim. Cut out pork or shellfish. That's the point. The bottom feeder animals, look it up in the Bible, figure out what they are. Don't eat those animals that you're not supposed to eat. And even kosher also is that I can't eat beef and cheese in the same meal. That's another one too. And then staying away from processed sugar and drinking more water. And definitely I would recommend get a regular exercise routine as well. You want to make sure that you are physically as healthy as you can be and having your body kind of follow what you're doing. So there you go. I'm glad you watched this video. I want you to find healing. I don't think you're going to find it anywhere else. This is pretty much the only straightforward thing that you're going to find from a guy who used to have this problem. So if you got comments, feel free to leave them right here. And also, again, I do plan to have a link right here where you can read the blog post and see some photos of where I came from to where I am today. Yes, I believe that you can be cured, you can be healed of dyshidrotic eczema in these 3 steps, because I'm living proof. Comments belong right here.